Shocking discoveries today. Let's go! Earlier in the Avengers, Mr. Fantastic says that events happen in the universes that lead to their destruction. Steve knows they want to create a weapon, and he says he won't let that happen. Tony Stark has ordered Doctor Strange to act, and he uses spells on Steve. Stark says the world is always under threat, and Steve is a whole bunch of problems. It all started with 2 men, one survived, one died. Now, the Avengers Tower, Rogers is asleep, and his journey is tormented by a dream. Earlier, Stark wakes Steve up and says he can't stop thinking about what he said. Steve had a bad night's sleep. Mr. Fantastic says that everything is dying, and that he will not tolerate any unnecessary things. He adds that T'Challa called them all here because of the unnatural acceleration of the end. The Fantastic says he refuses to accept it, especially when they shouldn't. But Steve dreams they have something better. Here we see him in a new image, with the Infinity Gauntlet. Rogers uses the power of the stones, and sends it far away to prevent an invasion. But there's something wrong here. All the stones are broken. Nema hits him and screams that he killed them all. Steve apologizes to all of them, he's very sorry. Rogers says nothing has changed and they stopped the invasion, but Strange disagrees with him as they have lost their main weapon. The captain wants to talk about it, and he knows that some believe he did the right thing. But T'Challa denies it. Nema and the Black Thunder also disagree with him. Mr. Fantastic says Steve doesn't behave properly, and that's insulting. Reed says he's even ready to sacrifice himself for the sake of his family. Steve won't let that happen. Rogers says the weapon they're going to do is evil. Stark doesn't understand Steve and orders Strange to act, and it happens again. He dreams that dream again and again. He's finally waking up. Natasha tells Steve that all the Avengers have disappeared, and Steve answers that they will still have to pay their debts. Steve wants the Black Widow and the Hawkeye to go with him and have everyone in full arms. He knows they trust him, and that there's a traitor among them, and this is Tony Stark. Thor comes to help them. Thor was supposed to come alone, but he knows that Steve can bend the rod. Steve orders the door to be opened. The door opens, and Thor tells Stark that they need to talk. They came to talk about Tony's lies, but he doesn't understand what's going on. Steve says Banner may have caught him lying, and now he knows something. He remembers. He remembers everything. Steve wondered how far they could have gone. The captain is wondering who broke first. Tony answers that he's himself. The captain strikes Stark in the jaw. Hawkeye is confused about what's going on here. Steve explains that the Illuminati are reunited again and are destroying parallel worlds, and that with them is Tony Stark. Stark says it's not true, but it can get to that. Thor tells him that he has a lot to answer for. Stark says it's not just his home, but he works here. They are surrounded by an enormous number of Iron Men. Tony's ready to just talk. And Steve's got a thought in his head. He used them all. Tony shows Steve what they've achieved, and that he's been right all the time. Steve is upset that he's been using it all this time. But Stark thinks he could do it again. And now Captain America wants to finish it. Cap fights Stark, while the others fight with Tony's costumes. The powerful battle continues, but Cap appears with something. It's the Stone of Infinity, the Crystal of Time, and now it's going to break. It's breaking and there's a powerful explosion. It all ends with us seeing New York flourishing 48 years later.